A group of evangelical leaders is pressing the Trump administration to increase the number of refugees the U.S. admits. This comes after the Secretary of State announced dramatic cuts. CBN's Heather Sells has details.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo released plans last week to limit the number of refugees allowed into the U.S. by 15,000 next year. That would cut the number to 30,000 overall, the lowest since Congress first passed the Refugee Act in 1980.
Leaders from the evangelical immigration table are asking the administration for more, not less. They want a cap of at least 75,000, in keeping with U.S. tradition since the early 2000s.
Since 1980, we've seen both Republican and Democratic administrations receiving refugees at pretty high numbers.
These Christian leaders say the U.S. is not only breaking with tradition, it's cutting numbers at a moment when the help is most needed.
The number of 30,000 is really concerning because right now we're facing the world's worst refugee crisis since World War II.
Across the globe, some 25 million refugees, many from Syria, are trying to escape danger in their homeland. Advocates say they're surprised at this recent move to cut the number of refugees because in addition to the Trump administration touting international religious freedom, the president himself has vowed to help persecuted Christians.
As it relates to persecuted Christians, do you see them as kind of a priority here?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, they've been horribly treated.
But State Department numbers show with the overall drop in the number of refugees admitted the last 2 years, the number of Christian refugees admitted here has also declined. Still, the Trump administration says admitting refugees to the U.S. is not the only way to help them. Sometimes it's better and more economical to keep them in their region. The president made that point Tuesday in his speech at the UN.
The most compassionate policy is to place refugees as close to their homes as possible, to ease their eventual return, to be part of the rebuilding process.
And joining me now is Heather Sells. Heather, is there any wiggle room in the cap on this number?
Yeah, well, a week or so ago, we were hearing yes. Now we're hearing not so much. And one of the reasons is the president is supposed to consult with Congress on this, and in particular, the Senate Judiciary Committee, which, as you know, has a little other few agenda items right now.
What do you think the administration's goal is in reducing the number of refugees that can come in?
Well, their stated goal is that a compassionate response involves allowing refugees to stay in the region as opposed to bringing them over to the U.S. Then it's also more economical. But this, of course, is a pivot because the president just a year and a half ago sat down with our David Brody and said, I'm going to prioritize bringing Christian refugees here. So, there's definitely an inner debate within the administration right now as to what's the best route to take.
Is this in any way about screening who's coming in? Is this because there were the Muslim countries, they've already been targeted?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of there's a voice in the administration, this whole America should be first. And so, yes, we don't even want to worry about who's coming into the U.S., so we're going to lower the numbers. But at the same time, the administration has to develop a response to those who are refugees, who are fleeing for their faith. What is our response going to be? And so this is a change, lowering the number to this historic level, this historic low, when for years we've welcomed a lot of refugees.
What about Christians who are being persecuted overseas that really need to be here or could face, possible death or who knows what? How will they be affected by this?
They won't be able to get into the U.S. as easily with the number being set at 30,000. So that really is a surprise that the administration is taking this stance, given that it really has promoted international religious freedom as well.
All right. Thanks so much, Heather. We appreciate that report.